Hello everybody. A few more helpful tips for your trip to ICYC. This one's going to have to do with effectively leading small groups. And I want to give you 4 tips that I think are really important to the success of leading small groups at ICYC. The first one is to listen to the talks yourself so that you are prepared to have a conversation about them. And I would say try to note 3 things that you think would be important to process with the teens when you are in small groups. Number 2 is have the right size small group. Last year I noticed that there were groups of 20 people trying to have a conversation. That's going to be very difficult. I would say no more than 7 in your small group. And you should have that ratio already because you have 1 adult for every 7 kids to be able to come to ICYC. So utilize that and use that for small groups. The third thing is start with a prayer. Always invite the Holy Spirit to come and help that conversation. And then the fourth thing is, I would say, start by asking the students what stood out to them. And hopefully in their responses, they'll name the 3 things that you noted. But if they don't, and you feel it's important that your 3 things be brought up, you can ask a simple question like, well, what did you think when he or she said this? And then it's going to be very important that at this point, when you're in small group, you don't give another talk. It's not time to lecture the students. They just heard a talk. It's time to process. And I would say just trust the event to unpack things. So if a student says something that's a little bit out of bounds in terms of theology or understanding of how the church looks at it, instead of offering the teaching at that point, a good way to handle it might be to ask another student, well, what do you think about it? Or does anybody else feel differently or think differently about it? Or even ask them, does anybody, how do you guys understand the church's view on that? Like, what does the church say about that? And then hopefully that comes out just through conversation. And then if needed, you can interject and share or give a short teaching piece on it for clarification. But I would say just put the brakes on that and try to get that to come out of your group. Your students know a lot. It's just going to be the art of facilitating conversation, not giving another talk. So those are my 4 helpful tips for leading a small group. I hope they're helpful and look forward to seeing you at ICYC.